to the Therapist's Invitation. I am Trevor Sharon.
Mark Mayfield.
And welcome to the first episode of 2021.
Dang, we made it.
Yeah, we made it through 2020.
Do we need a Medal of Honor or a
It's just a level up.
A
It's
gold
like,
star?
it's-
What level up? Okay.
I mean, really, I think that it would be almost wrong for us to get a really cool achievement for getting through 2020. I think it needs to be something so mediocre or so lame that it feels befitting
Okay.
2020. So maybe we just get like, you get a mailed golden sticker
Nice.
that's about the size of your pinky finger.
Okay. I get
like
that.
just the nail.
I got that kindergarten, right? I mean,
Yep.
logo
And that's
stuff.
it. That's it. And like no paper, no certification, no like card. It's literally just a sticker.
See, part of me agrees with you on that one. And then part of me feels like I'm just finished a marathon and I can't make it across the finish line because my legs gave out.
Yeah.
And so I crawled.
But if you
I
do,
crawled.
you get the sticker.
Okay, I'll do it. I like that. I like it. Don't turn off the radio, but
Today we have a really cool opportunity. We get to talk about a new project that we're working on in 2021 that I'm really excited about. I know Mark's really excited about.
yes, very.
And it is called the Mayfield Collective.
And we have the domain name finally.
We do.
MayfieldCollective.com.
This is not, it's out of R&D. It's just in the starting phases.
Right. So don't go search it yet because you won't find anything.
Yeah, it's not quite done. Our goal launch date is April of this year. So we still got, the first quarter of this year before this is going to officially launch. The reason that we're talking to you about it today is because really, as part of its launch, we need your support.
Yep. And that's going to look a couple different ways. But before we do that, something good.
Something good is I'm gonna go second because mine segues too easily. So
Segue too easily. Okay. I think something good for me is I think all the things. I'm just reflecting. I don't do New Year's resolutions. I think those are stupid. But just reflecting on the past year and everything that I've learned and about leadership and how I've grown as a father and a husband, and I'm just grateful. I think I can focus in on, and we just focus in on just how hard 2020 was, but I think there was a lot of beauty and resilience and grit that came out of it too that I'm really grateful for.
Absolutely.
So I've just been reflecting on that.
Yeah. My something good is that a project I've been working on and towards for 2 years.
It's been that long?
It has been that long.
Dang.
Is finally seeing the light of day. Like it's something that I don't feel I need to keep super secret anymore. I get to talk about it. So that's why I'm really excited about today. So my something good is today's episode.
I love it.
So let's talk a little bit about like what the Mayfield Collective is.
Yes, I was thinking we need to do that, but we need to know. I think we need to come back to why is it being birthed out of Mayfield counseling centers, because it ties in so beautifully with our heart for mental health and emotional health and destigmatization and education and that kind of stuff. So
do you want to kind of talk a little bit about the tie-in to mission and vision with Mayfield, like why?
Well, yeah, I mean, our desire at Mayfield is always to partner with people along their journey towards mental health and emotional health, but helping them live to their fullest potential. And I think you and I have talked about this for years of there's really nothing out there that combines the mental, emotional, and spiritual components. And
there's a lot of resource libraries for professionals in their fields. There's
therapists,
a lot of resources for peer-to-peer support. There's a lot of resources for, all sorts of things. But this feels different because it's professionals to any person,
right,
no matter their education, whether it is professional or not.
Well, topics like how to talk to your kids about ADHD, how to talk to your kids about
suicide, depression, self-harm.
How to engage your household in a culture of acceptance around mental and emotional
Yeah.
struggle. I mean, there's a lot of things that
How to develop proper interpersonal relationships with boundaries, with clear communication.
What are boundaries?
What are boundaries? A lot of just like in some ways it might feel like giving away counseling, but it's so not, because what we're doing is we're just providing some tools that, yeah, we do cover in counseling. But when we're in counseling, it's very specific to like in your life, in these relationships, let's build this together. Let's design this together. Let's build off of these tools. And I think it's a distinction that actually makes a big difference. Of Mayfield Counseling Centers has never been out to compete with other counseling practices. We've talked for years, even on this show, we could see 100% of our capacity and still only see maybe 2% of the need in our community.
Even if that.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's probably generous.
Right.
And so I think the distinction is, because we've had this idea of like, we're not in it to compete against other counseling practices or other professionals. We're here to support the community. That allows us to be able to, quote unquote, give away secrets that really aren't secrets. No. They're just things that we've been talking about on this show to more depth. That are things like the things that you've written in your books, things that are so important to the continued growth of a person, right? That either spark good questions or give some guidance on how to answer those good questions.
Well, and like we do with this podcast, there's the disclaimer that what we're providing isn't counseling.
No.
It shouldn't be taken as counseling, but it's these explorations of topics and going deeper. So okay, give everybody a rundown on what the Mayfield Collective is.
So for the past 2 years, we've been creating 2 primary shows. We've created Therapist's Invitation, formerly Candid Conversations with Dr. Mayfield, and we've also been creating the Monday Minute. We also had a couple like one-offs and maybe 2-offs of Better Mental Health and From Survivor to Hero, both of which I'm hoping to bring back in this big project. But the point has been with these online resources is, how can we get conversations going? How can we provide some encouragement throughout the week? How can we provide ongoing resources for parents and families, community members, friends, professionals, like just any person in our community that says, because it really, Candid Conversations was birthed out of you and I going to speaking engagements and people coming up and saying, hey, this is awesome. This is so helpful. How do I keep learning?
Right.
And us being able to say, okay, well, here's a few books. Here's like this blog you could go read. But thinking like, okay, we need to provide an ongoing resource, something that keeps the conversation going. And so that's where this birthed from. The Mayfield Collective is going to be an opportunity to continue the things we've done in the past 2 years and do so much more. Right. And so the goal is to have essentially just a subscription model where, I don't know, we haven't really concluded on this, but something like $10 a month, where you have access to the Mayfield Collective library on top of the free resources that will still continue to produce, where you can get information from professionals in the field on, hey, I just found out that my kid is self-harming.
What do I do?
Here's the 5-minute video of what you should, watch this before you go back up to their room.
Right.
And then here's the hour-long video training on like, okay, here's the next steps. Here's how to get connected to a counselor. Here's some of the questions that are going to be really helpful for you guys. Here's how to manage your own feelings a little bit better. To support rather than escalating, like things like that. Or even for like organizations that are struggling with the wake of a loss, like here's how to grieve communally. Here's how to have some, or encouragement at the very least, to have these conversations, even though they're scary, because they're important conversations, as well as worksheets that you can go through, journaling activities that you can engage with,
and short video vignettes for church members and
Yeah.
church leaders and
Yeah. Here's a video that poses a really important question
right.
that we should all grapple with.
Yeah, exactly. So it's exciting. It's going to happen.
Yes.
And it needs your help.
Yes. You probably know that everything in this world costs money. Wow.
That's like mind-blowing.
And if you're a longtime listener to the show, you're no stranger to maybe some of my feelings about fundraising and our conversations on the show about fundraising for Mayfield Counseling Center. So hard. And I never I'm that guy who turns off the radio when I hear the fundraising weeks and sit quietly and just ponder my life. So if you're like me, please don't tune out, because I want to engage you in this conversation with the Mayfield Collective. Anything is going to help with this project. And with any gift, we will also be gifting you an amount of subscription. Like you will have access to the collective no matter your
think
your
about it
gift
as
right
being
now.
a founding member of the Mayfield Collective, right? I mean, so it's something that I think, and I know I'm a dreamer, but I think could revolutionize how mental health services are provided to our community, not just in Colorado Springs, but worldwide.
Yeah,
in my opinion. And I know it's a big dream, but I think we're on the cusp of something pretty cool.
Yeah, but I mean, think about like how often you've maybe shared a YouTube link with somebody else, whether that's our stuff or someone else's.
Or a
just
dancing cat.
Yeah,
I mean, come on, something that of substance.
Yeah. Or saying like, hey, I saw this YouTube video and it really made me think about this one thing. You should go watch it. The hope is with the Mayfield Collective that we can do almost the same thing, but in such a more produced and effective communication of maybe you learned a mindfulness activity in your counseling and you want to share it with a family member because you're not sure you can communicate how to do this mindfulness activity the same way your counselor did. Well, here's the link to the video that shows the other person how to do it, and they can get the benefit of that. Or maybe you just need to remind yourself like 2 years after counseling, like, oh gosh, there was a skill I learned. What the heck was it? Oh, okay. I'm going to go here. I'm going to watch it. Maybe it's even my counselor that was doing the training.
Right.
There's so much room for this just to be a resource that is easily accessible, ongoing, and just an opportunity to keep the conversations going.
And inexpensive. I mean, if we decide at $9.99 or whatever a month, that's half a Netflix subscription. That's half an Amazon Prime subscription.
Right.
And we really believe in the content as life-giving resources. And so, think about the cost of counseling. Let's say $120 a week over the course of a month. That's $480 for the month. Yeah. Now, not taking away the benefit and the power of counseling.
Oh no.
But $9.99 for a resource that can give you some of these tools on an ongoing basis. Yeah. I don't know if you could put a price on that.
Yeah. Well, and the other cool opportunity that you as a listener have is to provide support to the mission and vision of Mayfield Counseling Centers the same way we've talked about in years past. Because once we are able to fund the projects within the Mayfield Collective, the rest goes to things like our scholarship or our client assistance fund. Yeah. It goes to providing the Mayfield Collective to clients in need or organizations in need.
Free of charge.
Free of charge. It goes to the various projects that we are doing in our community to help those in greatest need, to provide support to those who normally wouldn't have access to it without the give back of Mayfield Counseling Centers. And so your $10 a month in the Mayfield Collective is not just for your own personal benefit, though that's going to be an extraordinary thing, but it also is a donation to the mission and vision of Mayfield Counseling Centers and expanding the reach of what we're able to do in this community. I mean, over the past since we've started, we've given away almost $2 million worth of counseling.
That should be a fair assessment. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's to individuals that either were underinsured, or maybe were in a circumstance where going through insurance would have caused later harm to their career or whatever. It went to individuals who had experienced incredible trauma that impacted every single member of the family and would not have been able to pay for every single family member to receive counseling. And not to, this may be a little bit controversial, but
Go there.
there are places that work solely with underinsured or populations in need. The difference is, and I believe this, I've heard this from clients, I've heard this from peers, the difference is that we at Mayfield Counseling Centers are so focused on client care that we have made sacrifices within the organization to prevent ourselves from falling into the common trap that I think a lot of those organizations fall into, where clients become numbers. And we have to see, 40 clients a week in order for us to be able to maintain our organizational build and to pay our CEO this huge salary. That doesn't happen here.
Nope.
What happens here is that we focus on therapist care and client care to make sure that we're maintaining a healthy balance, that we're maintaining a strong ability to care for our clients as clients and individuals. And Mark has been very open in the past several years through this show that he's not making millions of dollars. I mean, it's just not happening. Like, he still sees clients to be able to supplement some of that. And because he loves seeing clients, like that's a big part of it too.
Let's preface that for a second. Yeah.
So I say all this because I hope that you can understand that what Mayfield Counseling Centers is trying to do is to serve those populations, those individuals, those circumstances in a way that is full of care and love and compassion and safety that I think is really hard to maintain.
Yep.
Especially if you are, and this is the controversial part, an insurance-led organization working under a medical model where we are intended to fix a problem rather than to be a place to explore, to learn, to grow, to heal, to be.
Well, that's the tension that we always face in our field, right? And that's hard.
Yeah.
So this is an outgrowth of that and desire to really care for people better. And so I think the big piece is just if you've believed in what we're doing, and if you've listened to the podcast, if you know people that could benefit from this podcast, please share. We hit a pretty big milestone this year, and we're at around 35,000 listens over the course of our episodes, which is in podcasting world is a big deal. There are podcasts that get 100,000 listens per episode,
right?
And that's great. But but the majority of the podcasts either don't make it, or there's that middle of the line, and I think we're middle of the line, and we've had a lot of faithful listens, and we're grateful for you listening.
Yeah.
If you're interested in donating, go to mayfieldcounseling.com, and you can click on the donate button, and it takes you to a PayPal link, and you can put an amount in there, and we would ask that if you do that you would earmark it as a Mayfield Collective donation, so we can make sure that it goes to the right spot. And
make sure that we can get a hold of your email address so that we can send you access.
And a tax receipt as well. But pray about it. Think about it. There's a lot that is going on here that can, I think a year from now, we're going to have some pretty cool stories.
Yeah. And I want to give you, our listener, credit as well, because this project, this collective, this resource would not be available had you not engaged with this podcast.
Very true.
You are one of the driving forces that have informed the conversations that are most important for us to be having, the ways in which we should be having those conversations, and the timing too. I mean, to be candid, that's such a dumb inside joke.
It
like
is,
it doesn't
but it's
even,
okay.
it's so dumb.
Nobody, yeah.
We called it the end halfway through this year, and had the idea of like, maybe this is going to turn into something different. And then we launched with the therapist's invitation instead of Candid, and started releasing episodes every other week, and didn't see a difference in our listener numbers.
Thank you.
We should have seen it drop in half.
Yeah.
And so that communicated really strongly to Mark and I, like, this is something that you still want, that you still find some benefit from, that at the very least you're like looking at it, even if you're not fully listening to it. And so throughout this campaign for the Mayfield Collective, we do still want to hear from you. What are the things that you would love to see incorporated in the Mayfield Collective? What are the conversations that maybe you heard on this show that we really should be expanding in the Mayfield Collective?
Yeah, and email us. It's still candid@mayfieldcounseling.com. We need to probably change that, but that's okay. You can always call us too, and talk to our wonderful office manager, Adam Smith, and get us connected. He'll connect you to us. But yeah, if you've got stuff that you have ideas around or things you want to see, even in the Mayfield Collective, let us know.
Yeah, and if you know someone or you yourself want to have a conversation with either Mark and I about the Mayfield Collective, and maybe have some answers to some questions you may have about the project before you donate, feel free to reach out to us. We're not that hard to access.
Nope, we're not.
And we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to be able to answer those questions and to engage you in this conversation.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, and may 2021 be a blessing.